Hey everybody, welcome to Do You Believe on Paranormal Zone TV. I want to thank you all so much for joining us tonight. For those of you who may be new to the show, if you would please subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it, and don't forget to give the show a like. I just want to warn you tonight, guys, I have a cough and I'm going to try my hardest not to cough. If I do, I'll just put something over my mouth, and I'm really apologize for that, but I did not want to cancel the show. Sean Austin is our guest tonight. I am so excited to have Sean on the show. This is, I think, second or third time Sean is on the show. Let me tell you a little bit about Sean. He is a lead investigator to Travel Channel's new series, The Ghost Loop. Let me show you a picture. Ghost Loop. And it can be seen on Fridays on the Travel Channel. Sean is also featured investigator on the series The Demon Files. It aired on Destination America Network as part of the team headed by the well-known demonologist, retired NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchi, who became the inspiration of the movie Deliver Us from Evil. Sean is also a paranormal investigator, a psychic medium, a demonologist, a writer. His published book, Shadow Chaser, and soon to be published the sequel to The Shadow Chaser, The Shadow Chaser, The In-Between. And he has a new musical recording for C. Now, Sean, I have been listening to some of his music, and oh my God, they are absolutely fabulous. Let me bring Sean on. I have it on my computer, and I would love to play some of his music because it's absolutely awesome. But let me bring Sean on. Hey, Sean, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me,
Norene. Oh yes. Hey, now I don't know if everybody knows that you're a songwriter and a musician besides your paranormal investigating.
Yeah.
Do you want to play a little bit of your music? I have it on my desktop and I can play it in segments, but I don't know if they'll hear it. Do you want me to try and see if they'll be able to hear it off my computer?
I mean, I can do it too if you want.
Okay, well, let me try this. Okay, let me just try this, okay? I'm going to play this. This is his latest song called Shapeshifter. Now, let me know, Royce, let me know if you can hear this, because it's right by the microphone. So hold on for a second. I think, let me turn the volume up. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you know what? I can't play it. You know why? Because if I turn my speaker on, we'll get an echo. Go ahead and you play it.
Yeah, I can do it. So actually this song is going to be played in some of the parts in the background of Ghost Loop on the second half of the season. I actually wrote this song during a time I was oppressed by an evil spirit after coming back from Bobby Mackey's quite a few years ago, which is written about in my first book, Shadow Chaser. And basically the song is written about getting through obstacles in life that can take any shape or form, whether it be an evil spirit or anything. And we have a chance to overcome that if we believe in ourselves and have a deeper understanding of why it's happening. And that's why I figured it was fitting to have it part of the show. So here is that. chorus, and that was I released that with my first book, Shadow Chaser, because there were songs that were incorporated having to do with the book too. But that song you should be hearing somewhere on Ghost Loop as well.
Oh, that is so awesome. Good song. There's another song, you guys, that I absolutely love. And I can't play it from my computer, but there's one that's my favorite. And I told him this. It's That's Enough. Yes, go ahead. I absolutely love this song. Go ahead.
Don't die on us, Norene.
I won't. I'm trying not to cough. Did you find it yet?
Yeah, it's just loading.
Okay. Yeah. This band is Sean's band. They're asking what band. It's Sean. Yeah, just a second. Sean's loading it. They want to know what the name of your band is.
Well, I'm a solo artist. So that's what's happening here. So I went and recorded all this stuff together. Had pro musicians play some of the parts with me to kind of bring it all together and bring it to life. Now I'm having issues.
Okay.
What the hell?
Keep it. Oh God, oh my God, I love that song. Oh, I absolutely love it. I've been playing it and playing it. Okay, so listen, tonight. Now, everybody, you know that Sean is on this new show on the Travel Channel on Fridays, Ghost Loop. So, Sean, let's talk about your new show.
Sure. So yes, the concept of Ghost Loop and what we're calling a Ghost Loop is these spiritual energies that have characteristically manifesting similar in the way that they're actually, projecting themselves with the homeowner. And it's very similar in activity. And as the Ghost Loop of activity, what's happening with basically the consciousness of this spirit is associated with these moments that led to their death, and that's what also leads us to our trigger environment, which is an emotionally charged environment to lure out the spirit, to figure out what we're dealing with, why we're dealing with it, and how to rid it off the property if we have to force it, or we can try and help it to find a path towards forgiveness so it can actually make that decision for itself.
And do you use trigger environments or trigger objects for these cases?
We actually take it to a whole new level. So, like on the first episode, we recreated an early 1900s murder scene. The entire room looked like it was when this murder took place between this lady and the man who actually she snapped because she was being abused so many times, and he would come home drunk all the time, and just abuse her constantly, and she just snapped, took the gun, and took matters into her own hands. And this guy lost control that one night, and this is what we got during that episode. He's just wandering around saying bitch all the time, and he was very angry. He's consumed with that moment that night where he lost control, and we recreated that environment and got right down to as if we've been back in time, so to speak. And that's why we actually were able to cross him over. I really believe we did, because first I'm like, we're gonna say a prayer for you, and he goes, bitch. And it's something he was saying all the time. Bitch was he calling me a bitch? But I feel like, I don't know if it's really me or if he's just calling the woman who killed him the bitch.
Oh.
I said, I'm gonna pray for you. And, this is a specific prayer that I actually say to actually incorporate bringing their loved ones to the light with Archangel Michael and so forth. And, right after I actually prayed, I'm like, will you go? And he goes, I'll go. It's just really astounding to, let people witness that sort of thing. I mean, this guy seemed like he actually changed his mind during a bracket of a spirit box session, which is really amazing. I mean, we can actually help these spirits, even if they're not great spirits, because so they can be accountable. Give them incentive to be like, okay, and you weren't a great person in life, but you have an opportunity here to go towards the light. They're your loved ones. It's going to be okay. You will find a path towards forgiveness. God's the most unconditional, loving, and forgiving, spiritual energy that ever was and always will be. So we don't have to force it off and risk this thing coming back.
Wow. So how many cases do you air on each episode?
We filmed 8 episodes, so it's 8 cases.
Oh, you only do one case a show?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. How did you get the cases?
Just word of mouth. I mean, people reach out to me for cases. We were, looking for people that were legitimately looking, or experiencing stuff in their home, or if it was a business or something like that, because we want to help genuine people that are really going through this sort of thing. Because these days, you never know. People, they realize that you can get attention from having your house haunted. So, all the people were legitimately dealing with hauntings in their home, and some astounding stuff that we were able to come up with in amazing trigger environments. That is something very unique that you haven't seen on TV before. So that was really cool to be a part of.
Did you weed out these cases to the extreme, those that were more extreme cases?
Oh, you mean like not to go on like too serious of cases?
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah. Did you want the worst of the worst? Did you want the worst of the worst?
I mean, that's my forte. I mean, dark cases. The most importantly we were focusing on for this project, for this beginning of the series Ghost Loop, is making sure that these people are legitimately, genuinely uncomfortable in their homes, and they're desperately wanting help. And that's really what we were, we want to be a part of. That's obviously it's a building in process.
Do you look for those that are more evil, more demonic in nature?
I mean, we were searching for anybody. I mean, when people are desperate, it can start to gear towards a dark energy, because if they're really desperate, then obviously you're not dealing with Casper the Ghost. So I mean, it just depends. But there's a bunch of cases we went on that were like very historically connected, and people confuse things that really terrifies them to something that they just don't understand. I mean, a lot of us fear the unknown, and a lot of these cases, when there's children in the home or there are parents and things like that, they don't understand. It's very fearful because they're seeing these things. They don't know the intent of why they're appearing and manifesting towards them. So, that confusion leads to a lot of fear and confusion within a home, and can cause a lot of disarray spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, that just increases over time. So it's good to kind of give them validity to what they're experiencing, but also to let them know in some of these circumstances, it's nothing to fear, and have a deeper understanding what they're experiencing, as well as sometimes you incorporate and encounter people in their homes that actually realize that they're sensitive and they're attracting the activity to a degree as well.
Now, because of your abilities, your psychic abilities, do these cases affect you personally?
Oh yeah. Well, the second episode we just aired last week, there was a spirit called the Tall Man. We actually called it the spirit the Tall Man because it actually visited me in my hotel room the night we got into Lubbock, Texas. I was falling asleep in the hotel, and I saw this lucid vision of this big shadow looming over somebody, and I just heard this female voice say to me, "That's the Tall Man." And as soon as she said it to me, the shadow was like facing this way, and it just turned its head really quickly like this, and then just came right at me, punching me, grabbing me, tried to pull me out of my body, and ravaging. I felt electrical jolts as I was in sleep paralysis constantly, and I just yelled out prayers at this thing because, I mean, I've had a lot of things. Something just flew by my head. I don't know what that was. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
That was weird.
Viewers, did you see something fly past Sean's head?
Just flew by my head.
Did you guys see that?
I do not. That literally came out of nowhere. I don't know what that was. Anyways, so
wow.
I yelled prayers at this thing, and it goes, no. And then I shot up out of my hotel room, and then I took my holy water and threw it all around the hotel room, saying, in the name of Jesus Christ, I revoke your permission to be here. Back off. Go back to where you came from. I started dozing off, and I could see through my eyelids, even though my eyes were closed, and I could see this, 7-foot shadow standing at my window, as if it was standing there, and I just dozed off. I've encountered so many things when I'm sleeping. So many things have come at me that are nasty. I'm used to so much. So it's like, yeah, I know you're gonna try to, scare me. It's not my first rodeo. So I get up and throw holy water in my room. So many times I've had stuff like that happen to me. But most importantly, I was, I had my antennas up because I was, is this connected to the case we're about to go on? Because I didn't know what exactly she was experiencing in her home. And then when we got in the car, I told everybody about the dream. Then our car, the wheel, it's scraping on the floor. And we're like, what's going on? And the wheel just flies off the car. It's going 30 miles per hour down the highway and almost hits another car. And we're like, what just happened? Because I've never witnessed something like that happening. I know nothing about cars. So, they didn't show it on the show, but Eric and I, jumped out of the car and ran towards the tire, and there was no electricity around the tire, and there's EMF coming off the tire. I don't know. I didn't know what to think. I'm not going to say it's definitely paranormal, but, it's very strange. And some people actually pulled over to the side and tried to help us. I'm like, is that normal to happen? And they said that there was still, 3 lugs on there that the wheel shouldn't have shot off like that. It was very strange. And, again, I don't know nothing about cars, but, it made us wonder, is this thing really trying to avoid us going there? Is this something, demonic? I don't know. And when I sat in the car and I'm like, is this the tall man? It goes, yes. But it could be also trying to get credit for something to make it appear as if it's more powerful than it really is. You just got to be very objective, but also on guard in the process. But by the time we actually got to the case and we interviewed Michelle, she said that she goes into sleep paralysis, which I experienced, and she said this shadow, sometimes it's as tall as the ceiling, would hover over her infant, and she can't move. And that's what came to me. So as soon as she said it got that big, I just knew that was the connection. Something was trying to warn me of what this thing was, and it turned to this interesting case of what we were dealing with. I wasn't sure if it was demonically influenced. I know I actually do believe that demonic presences and demonic energies can actually latch onto human spirits that are dead, that can actually, amplify their emotional consciousness of energy from a spiritual standpoint and almost possess them to be sadistic like they were in life. And this was kind of the circumstance that I was actually thinking that was going on here. That there was this man, there was this tall man. We found out that there was a guy that was allegedly about 7 feet tall that would rob people on this train, and once they robbed him, he would throw them off the train in this area called Hell's Gate, where Michelle would go and investigate and believe that something followed her home from this area. And then we found out the urban legends. We dug deep, and then there was this tall shadow that people would see darting around the place. So, all the dots were being connected here. But most importantly, we did a deliverance blessing on the home with blessed holy water and blessed salt, and I couldn't believe lightning struck as soon as I finished the prayer. It was like a sentence. It was like a period to my sentence. That was not made up. We were all looking at each other like, that was weird. But
wow.
That was an astounding, interesting case. But those things I look for with my medium ability. Sometimes things step away, and when you have medium abilities, it's very prevalent, it's very strong, but then sometimes it backs off. But I'm not going to just say something off the cuff all the time, and I'm not in control of the edits of the show. You say things, and sometimes you don't make it on the show. But some of the cases, definitely my medium abilities was coming through, and there was evidence of that. And it's obviously very fulfilling to be able to use yourself as a piece of equipment incorporated with all the universal scientific equipment that we're using on these cases, to bring validity to what's going on with the families, the people, and also to get us definitive evidence of what we're dealing with. So it's an interesting process. I mean, but ultimately we want to be able to do our best to try and help these people.
One of the viewers wanted to know, what are your psychic abilities? Okay, go ahead.
So I'm still learning about my abilities. I've realized I've had them now for probably like 8-9 years.
How did you know? But how did you know?
As soon as I started investigating the paranormal, things started to happen to me within the first year. Started having premonitions, weird, experiences. I started hearing, feeling, seeing stuff. I didn't realize that I was having a spiritual awakening. I was actually nervous that an evil spirit was making me think that I was psychic, but it was the other way around. Things were actually targeting me even more so because they knew I was going through that awakening. I'm a big firm believer in the law of attraction, and also when it comes to spiritual standpoints. When you open yourself up to the spirit realm, and you're open to the possibility of everything, you're not trying to discount everything, I think that you can trigger your natural psychic abilities that are within every one of us individually. But more so, it might be easily done with one person rather than another. And in this case, I do believe that my abilities were there. They were dormant. I used to have dreams about people's faces that I never saw. I'm like, was my imagination able to make up faces that I've never seen? But now looking back, that like there were little signs and symptoms of it. But once I actually dove into this spiritual paranormal field, that I experience something paranormal every single day now. It's just it's just constant. It was definitely overwhelming a few times. I'm just like, what did I get myself into? But I adore it. It's my passion. Whatever I experience, I know God's letting me have it happen to me for a reason. Even when I was oppressed by an evil spirit, I've become very strong spiritually. My faith is unfathomable. At an unfathomable level. So, I mean, I just want to be able to learn from these experiences and help others with the more I learn, to be able to do so.
So whenever you do with any paranormal investigation, do any of these spirits come to you, or does anything come to you in your mind of what's going to happen, or what the case is all about, or who might be doing the haunting?
Yeah, and like I said, with the tall man thing, it came to me like the night before we ended up at the case, and I get this thing of visitation. Sometimes it's like that. I'll have a visitation or some sort of spiritual, telepathically projected, introduction to what we're going to be dealing with on a case. It might happen weeks before, or it might happen a day before, or when I go into a property, I'll get flashes of images or something like that. Something will be telling me what it is. But sometimes, I don't get much. It's kind of like when you go into a haunted location one night and it's crazy. It's like surreal nuts, and it's unforgettable, the activity that's going on. But then another night you'll go in there and nothing happens. I really do believe that moon phases have to do with the veil being lifted or receded back, and that'll explain why haunted locations one night's crazy and one night's other. But also I feel like it might actually affect people like us who are spiritually gifted, because your abilities, I mean, now that I'm learning that over the last 8 or 9 years, is that it just comes in waves. It gets really strong and then it comes back. It's like the tides. I mean, water's a big conduit of paranormal energy. You know what, most of the planet's water. Mm-hmm. And knowing what the moon does with the water, and if moon really ties into paranormal energy, it all kind of connects here in my head, theoretically.
So after you do a paranormal investigation, or maybe one that you might have done previously, are you affected at home by any of these cases?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you are.
Things will follow me. Yeah, those are the cases that fascinate me the most. The ones that kind of stick to you for a little while, because there's something just a little bit more energetically more powerful about it. I don't know what it is. Those are the ones that I like to write about. Like, I'm writing about my second book too. It's just a strange, unexplained thing. But yeah, some of these things are relentless. especially if you don't know what you're doing and trying to cross over spirits. I mean, I still have an angry spirit after me for crossing over two women. This story's in my book, and this man still lingers around, references when I investigate places. He's relentless, and if you don't know what you're doing, you could be in some deep trouble, because you can make enemies in all sorts of forms of negative energies.
For everybody watching the show and who may be watching the show after, all the links to Sean is at the bottom of the video. His website, the link to his music, the Amazon, where to get the books, everything. All links are on underneath this show on YouTube. So those that, how many spirits ask for you to help them?
I mean, Norene, it happens all the time. It really does. Everywhere I go, I mean, this is something that I've started, since I live stream on Periscope for the last 4 to 5 years, incorporated a way to try and help spirits and offer that. I want to announce when I go places is that, number one, I am seriously, genuinely humbled to be able to experience your manifestation, that you're here with me. If I can help you, please say pray, because I know that's the help you're looking for, and that's the help that I can give you. I can pray and incorporate my abilities to maybe give you a flashlight in a dark room to send you and get out of this dark room and be with your loved ones. But it's not just about me. I'm kind of like the in-between. Oh, no pun intended, it's the name of my next book. So I just want to be able to be like, okay, you can go. Let go of what took place in your human life. A tragedy. Are you afraid of judgment? Are you attached? Are you afraid that you're going to be leaving your loved ones, or an object, a location, whatever it is? You have to let go of that, because we're not human beings as a core. We're spiritual beings coming to this human body as a vessel to learn, to spiritually take our souls to another level with the magical gift of free will that we have in the physical plane. That's why God created us. And how we affect people negatively and positively from our actions, and make an example out of this light that God represents, which is unconditional love and forgiveness. But letting these spirits know that God is full of unconditional love and forgiveness, and that their loved ones will be waiting for them in light. And that's why I try to say that out loud to the angels, to please bring them. And I think in some of these instances, the reciprocation is amazing, because I don't want to just sit there and say, oh, okay, guys, I crossed over spirit, and I can't definitively say that I'm crossing over the spirits, but I have feelings that absolutely I've helped spirits cross over, and that's why I leave the spirit box on when I'm doing this prayer, because you can actually hear what's going on while I'm praying. And like a lot of these spirits, in so many instances, live on Periscope in front of thousands of people, I've been doing this for years, is just amazing. They'll say, thank you, I'm going to heaven. I mean, I'll have emotion come over me. I'll start crying and feel like I just ran out of a burning building with a firefighter that just saved my life, and I just want to hug this person because they saved my life. I could feel that emotion. And they'll be like, all these just responses, like, the prayers saying amen and praying with me. It's just so many times. And that's such a fulfilling, purposeful piece of evidence to be able to experience. And when I started doing that, it felt so good. I felt like I was doing the right thing. So that's something that I do all the time. And I really do believe if we showed that level of respect to all these spirits, that the evidence would be reciprocated to that level, because everywhere I go, they flock to me like moths to a flame. I mean, because they know that I'm willing to try and help them. They can see it around my aura. I'm not here for ulterior motives. I'm not here for materialistic reasons. I'm on a TV show, but I mean, like, I ultimately want to help people, to be able to, reach people that I would never be able to reach, because we don't charge for this sort of thing, and have the chance to help people and bring spiritual awareness to that bigger, huger audience is an unfathomable gift. And I think that's, that's a big part of why I'm a part of this project, because I want to be able to do that and show this type of evidence, because it brings people closer to the positive elements of the paranormal. There's evil, but that means that there's also good, and you can protect yourself from the evil by being on the good side.
Now, okay, so there's spirits that ask for your help. How are these spirits that ask for your help, are they also trapped souls? How do you tell the difference?
I think there's a lot of diversified types of spirits, ghosts, that are not just trapped. It's almost like some of them, I believe that their consciousness is what's trapping them. So their consciousness is at a lower vibrational rate. And by doing so, you're keeping yourself grounded. I believe it blinds themselves, because I believe that there's different levels of realms that are different frequencies. And when you keep yourself full of negative emotions, you're going to be in that lower vibrational realm where all these negative, evil stuff is. And if they keep thinking about this terrible stuff that happened to them in life, they can't let go of it. They can't just let go and let God and say, okay, I mean, I can return home, because again, we're coming here to just learn, live the physical body, and progress it for our soul, but we don't have the memory of it, and that's just where faith comes in. You have to take that leap of faith to return home. So it's not just one thing. There's many different instances. Some of them might not know they're dead. They're kind of like in a dumbed down state, and trying to directly acknowledge these spirits and try to tell them, if we can get a name and directly say it to them, and say, look, you can go now. Whatever happened to you, you don't have to be consumed with this anymore. I'm going to pray for your loved ones to be here for you, to give you that extra incentive to go. And, again, the reciprocation that I've gotten for years now, it's just so astounding. And it's been so successful, with evidence to back up my feelings of what's happening, and these spirits actually crossing over, because, why would these spirits say these things to me? They have no reason to tell me that they're helping me and feel these emotions that have, and usually a lot of the times I'll get a flash of a white dove in my mind's eye if a female crosses over, and a white horse if a male crosses over. Sometimes I don't get anything. It'll just be a response. It just happens. It's different every time. There's many different spirits for many different reasons why they're trapped, or a ghost, and they're they're earthly bound. Just many different reasons. But some of them, a lot of them are trapped for, whether it be, consciousness energy, or they're scared of judgment, or whatever you can think of. Think about all the different ways that people die. I mean, there's so many different things that can, with lineage, their history, their regret, the guilt, their actions during life. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And this is just a recipe of many, many reasons why a ghost is earthly bound and stuck.
Do you try to find out who, so when these spirits ask for your help, or like they may be trapped, do you try to find out who they are and what happened to them?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The more information that we can get, I mean, when I do this sort of thing, or, what we did on the show, to be able to get a name, to get what they went through, it's like being your spiritual counselor to this spirit that's stuck earthly bound. Hey, even to the man on the first episode, I know you were a bad person in life. You abused this woman so much that she snapped and took matters into her own hands. And in this one moment, you lost control that night. And now you're consumed with anger because she was able to take your life. But all those years of abuse. But instead of, get rid of all that anger and realize that you can have a path towards forgiveness and, towards her for what she did, and also, be accountable for the type of person that you were in life, and then, realize that she couldn't take any more pain. So you can find peace, and, everyone's happy here. The more information we can have and to, gauge the spirit, the better chance we can have for them to listen to us. So, yeah, any piece of information is very crucial in that process.
All right, hold on for a second. Okay. Oh, okay. Now, Sean, I want to play for the viewers about the prediction.
Okay.
I had to cut it down to 2.5 minutes, and I know it was about 4 minutes.
Sure.
But and you'll talk in the video. You talk about what happened. But if you want to set it up, I'll still play it anyway. Do you want to set it up for them?
Yeah, I mean, I'll absolutely do that. Okay, so 2 years ago, I started to hear in my head Travel Channel. I actually told Eric when I started taking him out investigating with me. I remember we were at Letchworth Village, and I told him, I keep hearing it. I was with Dave Spanks and Weatherly. We were taking a trip down to Florida, Mississippi. I'm like, guys, I keep hearing Travel Channel. I don't know what it is, but something's brewing. And it went on for months and months and months. And then all of a sudden, Eric got a call about the show and then pulled me in. And, And I'm like, all right, what's the deal with this? Because you get so many calls about TV shows, and I got other offers and stuff like that for concepts and things like that. But a lot of them don't really come to fruition. So I did my first interview for the concept of Ghost Loop, and the next day I was live streaming on Periscope, about 1,000 people at least. I was in local cemetery. I wrote about this place in my book Shadow Chaser. I've had so many experiences. I would call this place kind of compared to the Union Cemetery to Ed Warren, because it's so close to me, and I call it the Portal Cemetery because I've had so many experiences. It's just amazing the amount of things that I've experienced there. But anyways, I'm live streaming. It's about 5:30 in the afternoon, and my grandparents are buried there. Their names will come in, reference themselves a couple times here or there. And, today it was just non-stop. I'm his grandfather through the spirit box, grandma, this and that. Constantly. I'm like, what is it with my grandparents today? And it goes, they want to talk. And I'm like, talk about what? And it literally just said, Ghost Loop, idea, TV.
Oh, no. I want to play it for him.
Okay.
No, stop. Okay, guys, this is amazing. I'm going to play this for you. Let me get it. It's 2.5 minutes, so bear with us. Here we go.
In front of about 1,000 people live on my Periscope, and I was walking around the cemetery, and my grandparents are buried there, and my grandparents will come through, references to them sometimes, but on this certain day, it was constant. Their names, references to my grandfather, I'm his grandfather, and finally on this little clip that you're actually going to see is, all right, why are my grandparents coming through? What do they want? And then something comes through the spirit box and says, they want to talk. And talk about what? And these are the responses that I got. And I was pretty blown away because afterwards, everyone in the chat was asking if I was going to be on a TV show. And at the time, I couldn't say anything about it. But to me, the spirits and the ghosts, or my grandparents having something to do with it, were predicting that this was going to happen next year. And at the time, we didn't even know it was going to be 5 of us. And it says the name Ghost Loop. It says 5 of us leave, new series next year. I thought it was really interesting. I felt compelled to post this and let people just check it out and see what they think. So here's that clip.
Grandmother. That's crazy. They want to talk. Wow. You're wanting to talk to me for a specific reason, Grandma and Grandpa? TV. Really? What about it? What about TV? Are you saying I'm going to be on TV for something? Show. What show? Series. Next year. What the fuck? That's crazy. Series next year. Did you hear that?
The day before was the first time that I interviewed for the show and concept Ghost Loop that ended up being on the Travel Channel, coming out in 2 weeks. And the interesting part is that it was just in a beginner stage.
It must be looping.
It was not a show. We were interviewing for the concept to present to the network to hopefully get picked up with this concept. And the day after I
I think it's looping. That should have stopped. Okay. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I finished it. I think it looped, and I didn't want it to loop. That was amazing. You know what? If you didn't record that and show proof that happened, I wonder how many people would have believed you.
There was a couple of comments on my YouTube like, oh, why would you, yell out the responses or something like that? I'm just like, well, why didn't I yell at all of them? But the thing is that when you do spirit box sessions, you don't hear everything, number one. So the ones that I did hear, I was laughing to myself because the day before I did my first interview for Ghost Loop, nobody knows anything, and I go into the cemetery, and this thing's literally talking about the new series next year. It says 5 of you leave, and at the time it was only 4 of us. It wasn't even 5 of us. And when I went back, it actually did say Ghost Loop. It said Idea, and again, I had like over 1,000 witnesses to it. Like everyone in the chat was like, "Oh my God, Sean, do you have a TV show coming out?" And I couldn't say anything, and it was only in a beginner stage. We weren't even greenlit. And until this moment, I knew the show was coming out. I wanted to post it out there because, literally, after that moment, we were investigating. Eric was with me a bunch of times. It's constantly say TV so many times. It was referencing it so many times, but it's very interesting. It literally predicted the TV show.
Oh, that absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that happening before.
Yeah.
All right, so what else do you want to talk about with your show? So you had 8 cases. One case, was it one in particular that you probably can't talk about it because it's on the show?
Yeah, I'm obviously not supposed to give away things that have not happened yet.
Oh, I know.
Aired.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some there's a couple more, a few more cases. The one that's going to air tomorrow, I captured some really creepy EVPs that I'm excited for people to hear. Obviously, again, I don't know what they're going to show or not show, but I can always let people hear it if they don't put it on there. Then there's another couple of cases that some crazy stuff happened. One was unexpectedly very dark. But we traveled around the country, and it's draining on so many levels to be gauging the paranormal and going to these cases and with energies that are negative and lost and things like that. Definitely can take your toll on it. But I loved every moment to be able to be involved in the paranormal. It's my passion, and again, to be able to have the chance and opportunity to try and help people. So I'm all in. 24/7 if I have to.
How many hours do you work on that investigation?
Some of those days are pretty long. Doing stuff. It's about a 4-day per case of everything as a whole.
And they put it down to 1 hour?
Yeah, 42 minutes.
Wow.
Minus the commercials.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess they, I hope they have a good editor.
No, yeah, no, they definitely do so far. It's, I don't know how those people do that. It's, pretty masterful, to say the least, to put all that stuff together and make it cohesive. It's crazy.
Are you working on, did you work on any demonic cases that they might have been possessed?
There is one that, there was one that was demonic.
Really?
Yeah. I won't go into it.
Okay.
I don't know when they're going to air it, but yes, and it was a pretty serious case.
On your, you mentioned that you were mentored by Sergeant Ralph Sarchi, who's a demon. He's a demonologist. How did that go about? You wanted to get involved in demonology and that kind of stuff?
Well, when I was involving myself in the paranormal, I was going out investigating places, and then I started reading books to become more informed. And the demonology aspect really interested me, because you think about demonic hauntings are the most taboo corner of the paranormal. It's the most extreme type of activity that can take place. And I was experiencing dark stuff because my first calling of this whole thing of stepping in the way of evil and trying to save spirits was in my book. This first place that I went to and helped this spirit, and evil things started coming around me, and they were pissed off. It seemed like I was being geared to be having that calling. So the first book I went and read was The Demonologist by Ed Lorraine Warren, then Shadows of the Dark, John Zaffis, and read Ralph's book, which was Beware the Night, which became Deliver Us from Evil, the name of the book, as well as the motion picture. But in this whole process of reading and trying to become more informed about the entire subject, since I was becoming passionate about it, I started doing a radio podcast. I did it with somebody else, and then I started doing it by myself. And Ralph, you'd look for guests to come on your show that were cool, because it was amazing for me. I loved it because I'd have these conversations with a bunch of different people that were part of crazy cases or pioneers in the field. And Ralph was one of those pioneers. He was around. He worked with and Lorraine Warren, and then he worked with, you know, the most respected exorcists of our time, Bishop McKenna and Father Malachi Martin. Those were his mentors. And, you know, so when I brought him on the show, we had some long conversations, and he knew about my, you know, Catholic background and spirituality, and he asked me to come on some cases, and we, you know, went on some cases with him, and then I guess it was kind of leading up to, you know, the documentary series, The Demon Files, and we had no idea. But of course, I mean, just to be around somebody that's a plethora of knowledge when it comes to, you know, demonology and the experiences that he's gone on, the exorcisms he's been a part of, and the people he's worked with, it's a humbling, amazing experience to be mentored by someone like that. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a demonologist unless Ralph actually told me I am, and he says, Sean, you're a religious demonologist. It's the way you're, you know, you're gauging these cases, you know, your approach. So I mean, that's what I am now. So I mean, I've been doing it for quite a few years. I mean, there are no experts in the field. I would say that we're professionals. I know that the TV shows call us experts and things like that. I know people are sensitive to that, and I agree to it, because we really just don't know enough for anyone to be an expert. But we can be informed and professional how we can try and help people.
So how do you know if somebody is actually has a a demonic type of possession, or there's just an evil spirit?
Well, there's certain characteristics that a demonic entity would, you know, manifest. You would see, what's the invitation? What is that? Did you see that? This thing just flew by my head. Did you?
No, I'm looking at my notes.
Something just flew over here to the left and flew to the right. It went stopped and then went to the right.
Did you guys see anything?
That was an anomaly. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my God.
Not even kidding. Did anyone just see that? It was like a piece of, like, I've seen things like that. It looked like a curl, like a white thing. It stopped. It came from here, stopped, and then went right.
Oh my God. Guys, did you see that?
I can't believe this. This is unbelievable.
Did you guys? Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they saw it. Oh my God, I'll have to do this on playback.
I'm telling you, it was huge.
Oh, they've been seeing things. Well,
But that I knew was not dust, because I literally saw it. It stopped, and then it went right. It defied gravity. And I've seen a little anomalous, like, manifestations like that. That was weird.
Well, the viewers are saying they've been seeing stuff all night.
Yeah, that was the biggest, most prominent one that I've seen. That one, definitively, I can say that's some sort of spiritual energy.
Oh,
Never a dull
wow.
moment.
Oh, they said it was amazing.
Has that happened to you on your show, Norene?
Well, at least it's your place, not mine.
You know, I don't mind if they're friendly. I just, the nasty ones is the ones you really don't want around. So
Oh my
I'm constantly
God.
blessing my place. But that was ridiculous. Okay.
Oh, wow. How do you
What were we talking
feel? The difference between an evil spirit and a demonic entity.
So, I mean, yeah. So there's certain characteristics of a demonic entity, whether it be scratching on the walls, putrid smells like sulfur, rotting flesh, burning rubber, things burning, whatever putrid smell you can think about. People getting scratch in threes, 3 knocks, scratching on the walls. But it's really getting down to figuring out if there's something tied to the history. Is there something that the person, the individual, messed around with? Did they do ritualistic magic? Did they play around with the Ouija board? Is there something they did when they were younger? I mean, they're all little pieces of clues that'll lead up to what they're experiencing, to tie whether or not it's demon. But I also, actually on the demonic case that we got on the show, like as soon as I knew it was, I was being told it was a demon, and I saw a part of this thing. I mean, so again, to have my intuitive ability, to have the scientific equipment, and then doing the proper investigative methods of the individual and what they're experiencing, whether it be tied to the history or what they've done in their past, is coming up with that final assumption if it's truly something demonic, because there are human entities that can lash out and do stuff that's negative, but it'll be a little bit more tame, and stuff like that. So you just got to be very objective, and be careful what you're doing, because you can piss things off if you don't know what you're doing and make matters worse for the family. So you just never know. They could be turns that go left and right and curveballs with information you get. But it's really important to be objective about what you're dealing with.
Do you work with Ralph Sarchi at all anymore?
He's kind of semi-retired right now.
Oh.
But I'm actually going to his house just to have a visit with him tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Going over and hanging out with the guy a bunch of times lately.
So do you consider yourself a demon hunter?
Well, we wouldn't call it demon hunter. We're demonologists. We don't hunt demons. We go investigate and we try to displace them. We try to send them back to where they belong. That's why we call it. Ed Warren called it. He was a religious demonologist. Mm-hmm. Ralph's is a religious demonologist. John Zaffis is a religious demonologist, and that's what I am as well.
Is there anything else you want to talk about your show before I ask you some other questions?
Well, 8 episodes, 8 cases. There's some really interesting, fascinating trigger environments we created. There's one that's tomorrow that's really fascinating. I don't want to give it away, but even if I was just a viewer, I would be really interested to see the types of things that we would be creating to try to draw out the spirits, because usually just you see trigger items, but we're taking it to a whole new level to recreate the entire area, to have the spirit recognize something, so that we can get a response and then be like, hey, so why are you here? Why are you doing this? Will you communicate with us? Can we try and help you? Or do we have to force you off? We'll give you the chance to find peace for yourself, or we will be doing the proper sending you off.
Awesome. I hope they renew your show. I hope they renew your show. You deserve that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so when you deal with demonic cases, do you ever try to identify the demon?
Well, I think that would be very prevalent on solemn exorcisms. I've never been involved with a solemn exorcism, which is on an individual person. Obviously, the way Ralph has trained me, we can do exorcisms on a location. If you can get the name of a demon, obviously by doing religious provocation, you can actually force this thing to manifest, have a better chance to do so than if you didn't have its name. This is something that happened on one of our cases on the show, and we got the name. And some crazy stuff went on.
You did? Oh my God.
Yeah. Something just flew by my head again. I got my antennas up because I'm like, what's going on behind me? After seeing that other thing, I'm just like,
well, I got to put you full screen. I got to see him.
Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm really looking, because that something just. Obviously you think about dust, but that last one just stopped and then went this way. So I don't know. And now we're talking about all this stuff too, mind you. So.
Do you usually do shows with the live video Skype?
No.
It's mostly radio.
Mostly radio.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to clip these out.
Yeah, that big one before was very substantial, Norene.
I'm gonna have to play it back. Okay. Now, what about those who play with the Ouija board? Have you come in contact with any person that has been but deals with or plays the Ouija board that has issues with bad entities and that you've helped?
Oh yeah, it happens so much. It happens so much. Now, I know plenty of people that play with the Ouija board and nothing happens to them. I do things the way that I do, and I always played with the Ouija board many years ago, and that's how I got oppressed, and I'll never play one again. But I know that I have a deeper understanding of how you get oppressed now by evil spirits. So now I know that God let me go through that for a reason, to have a deeper understanding, to help people now, knowing and to relate to them on that level.
All right, Sean, hold on for a second. My thing is gonna. All right. Okay, I think we're back up. Yeah, we're back up. Okay, guys, we should be back up. Yeah, there we are. Okay, yeah, we're back. All right. Jeez, I forgot what I was saying. Oh my God. What were we saying? What were we talking about?
I don't know.
I don't either. What the hell?
Well, just talking about exorcism stuff.
Okay.
Demonic.
All right, listen. Okay. What I want also that was the Ouija board I asked you about. What about
Yes.
What about? Have you ever had to help somebody that dealt in black magic, witchcraft, or evil spells?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely happened before, and it can be very tricky too because you have to figure out exactly the type of magic they've done because some of those things can be very tricky and deep layered with what they invited in. But you know, it's obviously it's a really dangerous sort of thing. Actually, in my second book, I'm writing about this girl. Very crazy, tragic, scary, unsettling story to the fullest. She was possessed, and while she was pregnant. And I had so much evidence, what I experienced, and nobody wanted to touch the case with a 10-foot pole because if something happened to the baby, you know, anyone could be responsible. But this girl latched onto me, and emotionally, I got involved trying to just guide her. I didn't know what to do with it. It was actually right before I met Ralph, and I had so many experiences, so many pieces of evidence without even me being in the same state. It was just astounding. And writing about this in my second book. And actually, like we're talking about this right now. I know I told you I would play a couple of audio clips.
Oh yeah. All right. Do you want to play those two?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell them about them. Tell the viewers about them.
So I have a lot of evidence. I don't want to give it all away at once, but I'm going to play 2 clips of audio I would have phone conversations with this girl, and she would speak Latin and English backwards to me. I didn't even know that she was speaking English backwards because, you know, I couldn't understand what she was saying, so I put it up on a program on the computer, and I'd actually play it in reverse, and she was literally speaking English backwards. I've never experienced anything like that before. It was just as I was starting to delve, and it was right before I started working with Ralph, and I was just like, holy crap, like so much stuff. And basically what I'm going to play you is 2 clips of this girl when she was speaking
Okay.
backwards
Oh wow.
on the phone to me.
All right. They should be able to hear it because they heard
Oh,
the
yeah.
other.
They'll definitely hear it. I can show you this really quick too. If you see here, I was on the phone with her one time, and she was being choked on the phone. I could hear laughing coming through the phone, and she couldn't breathe. And I started saying the Archangel Michael prayer over the phone with her, and then I was sitting right in this room. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I felt burning on my arm, and you can see 13 slashes showed up on my arm right as I was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was on the phone with her, praying for her. This thing lashed out at me after I prayed for her while I was on the phone with her.
Oh, how scary, Sean.
Yeah, so that's just one that popped up. I can show you.
Did that scare you at all?
Well, I felt a little overwhelmed because I'm like, holy crap. You know, what, you know, I was just trying to help the girl, but yeah, I mean, to not even be there in the same place, it's just nuts. So let me find this. So in this one clip, she's actually saying, you can hear her say, and this is after I put it in reverse. You can hear her say, it's an exorcism. This is after it's in reverse.
All right. So what clip are you playing first?
That it's an exorcism after I put it in reverse. You can hear her say it's an exorcism backwards. Pretty creepy. You were able to hear that?
I couldn't understand it.
What do you?
I have it. Let me see. All right, I have it on my computer. I hope nothing goes wrong. It's on my desktop. but I don't know. Oh no, I can't play anything. That's right, because my speakers are turned off. Did you guys hear it? Did you guys hear that? Oh, I guess they did. Somebody said, "Wow."
Yeah. I have another one. This is her reverse speaking, and you can hear her say, "He saw the baby in a dream." And this is a full sentence in English backwards, so hopefully I don't know who can hear it. Hear that?
Yes.
That's after I put it in reverse.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's crazy. That was coming out of her voice?
Yeah. I could actually just play you parts of this little. She's speaking another language. I don't even know what she's speaking.
Oh my God. Play it.
Creepy. Speaking in strange languages.
Did anybody, they heard it. Did anybody understand that language? It's not Latin, is it?
Listen to this. Creepy as hell.
Oh my God.
I mean, like, you can actually hear her like it's speaking through her throat, and she's it's literally it's just I have so much creepy stuff.
Oh well, wait a minute now. One viewer said it's Aramaic, and Anita said it's Old Latin.
Really?
Yeah. Aramaic.
Yeah, some of it was, I told you, I believed it to be Latin. I couldn't make it out what she was saying, but part of it was English backwards. I mean, it's just like, nuts.
Debbie wants to know if you can reverse it.
Well, those parts that I did reverse, the ones I could make sense of. He saw the baby in a dream. It's an exorcism. But, you know, I mean, there's different parts of it. I could go back, and I haven't done it in years since it was happening.
Okay, so Royce, my mod, says it's Sumerian. My other mod, Cassandra, says it does sound Latinish.
Mm-hmm.
That is, you know what? I've never heard anything like that. You know, I did a show though on that. Oh my God, that famous case where she died. She actually starved to death.
Oh, Annalise.
Yeah, and she used to talk in a language. In a creepy language.
Yeah, she had a symbol show up on her pregnant belly that allegedly the cold symbol meant some sort of infertility. And one of the things that actually happened to me was I had a vision that she was up against the wall, her eyes were changing colors, and something was next to me, and it was biting on my ear with fangs, and it whispered in my ear this name. I think it's spelled Estharte.
Did you ever look that up? Did you
Google
Google
it? I looked it up.
Yeah.
And it's a goddess. It's a demonic goddess of fertility. And I didn't even know.
Oh my
and
God.
It's just connected to this whole thing. And let me tell you, when the baby, ends up, passing away, the activity went dormant.
Oh my God. You ought to come in. This year. You ought to come on my show and do some of your cases and show us your evidence that you have.
Yeah.
Do you
so
have?
When I release my second book,
Yeah.
this story's going to be really profound. I pretty much can make a whole documentary about this case because I have so much evidence, and the things that happen were just like Hollywood level. Like, it's nuts.
Do you want to Do you want to do that? Would you come back and share your cases, what they were all about, what you did, and share the viewers love evidence. They love evidence.
Yeah, I'm going to show you actually another picture. I'll show you another little tease here. Something right out of a movie. It's crazy. Like, she actually Skyped with me, and she said she was going into a trance, and my screen started to flash and go nuts, and her face actually changed, and you can see it looks like someone else's eyes, and you see this thing right on her shoulder. You see the side profile of nose and mouth, and these two red eyes shadow thing right over her shoulder, and it was like something right out of a movie. If you can see it here, you can see.
Oh God, I see the red things.
Yeah, so that's her face. You see, like, her eyes look strange, and then there's this thing right over her shoulder. I can actually make it actually a lot brighter, just so you can see it better. You can see this thing right here. It has red eyes, and it's right over her shoulder with a nose and mouth, and her eyes changed. Like, it looks really strange.
Oh, that's
really
weird.
Creepy.
Yeah.
This thing right over her shoulder has red eyes, and it's like a shadow with a nose and mouth.
Damn, that is really scary.
Yeah, it's right out of a movie.
Oh my God! And you don't get scared? This stuff doesn't bother you?
I've experienced so much at this point, Norene. I've gotten used to it. My faith is my protection. So when they come to me and things like that, it just, I yell out prayers, and then they come. They'll try to frighten me a little bit or attack me for a moment, and I'm like, get out of here, because that's true faith. I mean, truly believing and knowing that God's more powerful than any evil spirit or devil or demon. These things I'll be able to idealistically do to you what they want to do to you. They're trying to extract fear or negative emotions out of you so they can thrive, feed off of it, to continue that chaotic cycle. But they ain't going to get it from me, because I've been down that road before, and I've just become stronger spiritually throughout the years.
Well, okay, so let me ask you, have you ever had an attachment?
Well, I mean, I was oppressed. After I played with the Ouija board, and it followed me home, and it really messed me up psychologically for a couple of weeks, where, like, I would never want to kill myself, but, like, the thoughts were just pounding through my head that I should. And I was going to cemeteries by myself at night, sitting there, and I'd smelling rotting flesh, and I could hear these EVPs recording saying, hail to this demon, hail to that demon. And I'd wake up 5 o'clock in the morning feeling like someone's stabbing me all throughout my body, and as if I was watching my family burned alive. Like, it was comfortably be able to say it was the most painful experience I've ever gone through. But, once, this is all in my book, Shadow Chaser, by the way. But once I realized what it was doing, and it was something that was affecting me, I looked up how to spiritually ground myself. It's kind of like religious resistance, which actually Ed Warren called it. And I imagine this white light of Jesus Christ all around me, and I grounded myself, and I saw this red glowing ball fly off me and right out the window, and I immediately almost felt normal immediately. And the next day, I'm like, as if nothing happened. I said, "Fuck, this thing got me." I was like, and I'm like, but that made me stronger. So I don't regret going through that experience. It helped me along my journey to who I am today. Being a religious demonologist, and investigator, with the strong faith that I have.
Can I talk a couple of some of your scariest cases? Now, I know we did a show, Sedumsville. I did a show with you and Dave Spinks on Sedumsville. I found that to be a very creepy, scary investigation. And Bobby Mackey's The Gates to Hell. Those two were you played music at Bobby Mackey's, and Dave, I think Dave met you for the first time there.
Yeah, Dave met me at Bobby Mackey's for the first time back in like 2012. That's when I got oppressed when I came back home from that.
From
that
Bobby
trip.
Mackey's?
It was after Bobby Mackey's, yeah.
Oh my God! Do you want to talk about Bobby Mackey's?
Yeah, sure. So the first time I went there, I started to go into a trance. It was after I played with the Ouija board. So, I felt just really just off down in that basement. Really dark. Things started to happen to me when I went home in my oppression. But I did end up going back there with Dave 4 years ago, something like that. I forget. And I ended up singing with Bobby Mackey's band on stage. It was my birthday, and a friend of ours, L.A. Beast, who's big on YouTube. He's a competitive eater, really good guy. He did an event there, and we all investigated. And we were down in the basement, actually, and Dave Spink's chewing tobacco was on a table 10 feet away from us. We're down in the basement, and out of nowhere, just we hear something fly over our heads and ping, 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 ping. Someone picked up the chewing tobacco and threw it 30 feet across the entire basement, which is really nuts.
Wow.
But it's like the activity that goes on there, it's like that place is infamous for having stragglers follow you home. And that's the real dangerous part about that place. It's really what happens. It's the aftermath of Bobby Mackey's to look out for, not just the activity.
Well, isn't the basement the portal to hell, supposedly?
Well, because, a woman, the story goes that possibly a woman was decapitated. They don't know if it was a satanic ritual or something like that. When you mess around with ritualistic purposes, it could open up a doorway for evil forces to come in and out of. There's obviously deaths and suicide. The demonic are drawn to the suffering of human beings and man in general. So, you create these perfect storms in places like Bobby Mackey's.
But isn't that a hole? This place was a slaughterhouse.
Yeah, the blood would go down, that hole where they actually allegedly decapitated this woman.
Oh my God.
When I came home from my first trip to Bobby Mackey's, one of the first things that happened to me, I got in my car, and there's a picture of it in my book. No one was in the car before, and it was raining out, and I got in my car, and the initials JS were written from the inside on my windshield right above my steering wheel. And now looking back at it, there was tales of Johanna following young men home from Bobby Mackey's, but no one knows her last name. So were those the initials to Johanna? I don't know, but as soon as I came home, things from that place seemed to follow me. It was something from that place, and they were satanic worshiping spirits that had actually latched themselves onto me and tried to oppress me.
Well, he made a recording of Johanna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he recorded a song. That was a pretty good song. Isn't there?
It's haunting, awesome.
What, honey?
It's eerie, it's creepy, and it's awesome.
Yes. What is the deal with isn't there something about the railroad track that goes behind Bobby Mackey's or in front of Bobby Mackey's? Is there something that goes on with those railroad tracks?
I forget the railroad tracks, but the actual path where the slaughterhouse and all the blood would go through, I think it would come out next to the railroad tracks. There's like a path, a tunnel that you walk that leads you all the way up into the basement of Bobby Mackey's.
Oh.
I forget about the train track part, but I know about obviously the slaughterhouse hole where all the blood would go into the sewer system.
Oh my God, that Bobby Mackey's has quite a history and a story to it. Really, not. It's a creepy story, and that poor guy that used to live in the basement. Carl, was his name Carl?
Yeah, when Dave and I, when we were there with it was Ellie Beast and my buddy Phil, we were up in his old apartment, and we got a clear Class A EVP, and we're like, Carl, is it a portal to hell downstairs in the basement? He goes, yes. It's creepy.
Well, Carl had died, didn't he? He died.
And there was an exorcism that was done on him on the property because one of those spirits allegedly, possessed him. And there's video of that, I think, on YouTube. It's been on Ghost Adventures. Obviously, that was one of their, first episodes going to that place.
Yeah. Wow. And now another place that you guys went to, that we aired a show on was, the Sedumsville Rectory.
Sedumsville Rectory, yeah. Well, I can tell you about this place was one of those things that happened to me. It's in my book as well. I had those visions before we took the trip. I had a vision that we were in this house, and my buddy Phil was with me, and these three little boys came up to me, and they were tugging on my clothes, and they're saying, Sean, be careful of BEEZELBUB, however the hell you spell it. And all of a sudden, things were levitating in the house and this and that, and these kids were trying to warn me, and they're like, look outside, and I could see through the window, and there was this black peacock with red eyes running around the house in circles, and then there was I think it was a bull, with no, I'm sorry, it was a donkey. It was a donkey with red eyes, and these things were running around the house constantly. And you know, the next morning I told my buddy Phil about this dream. He's like, "That's really bizarre because I had a dream that I was in a house with you too." So when we actually got to Satterville Rectory, I didn't know what this pertained to. I get so many crazy dreams. What does this have to do with? When we walked into the first floor of Satterville Rectory, I looked around and realized this is where my dream was.
Wow.
I knew it. I looked around when I got my bearings. I'm like, this is the place. And immediately Dave got scratched right on the neck. We didn't begin investigating. And we turned on the spirit box, and what demon's name constantly coming through over and over again was the demon's name those kids were warning me about.
Now, didn't the that place closed down? They sold it, and it was no longer had any links to a church. What did they do when they do that? They take the holiness away from a location. What's the name of that? What do they call that?
I know what you're talking about. I'm kind of blanking on myself.
Yeah, it's no longer sanctioned as a church. So it's, I just read that the other day. You think I could remember that word? Guys, do you know what that is? When the church is no longer a church, they desanctify it or something. I don't know. But yeah, now this place, is it still abandoned, or are they trying to refurbish it? Restore it.
I don't know. I haven't looked into the place in a while. I know that they were having people still investigate, but then I heard that something went on there and things got worse, so they kind of like stopped. But I don't know if someone else bought it. I actually haven't checked in about that place in a while.
Now, this place was really bad. The priest used to molest the kids. Mm-hmm. Were there murders and stuff going on like that at this rectory?
I don't know if there's evidence of like proven murders, but we got references to that sort of thing. I know that they had like dog fighting in the basement. We don't know what else type of things that were done there. There could have been rituals as well. But I'll tell you, like when we were there, I didn't know if those boys needed help, and I prayed for them. And after I prayed, are those, if they were boys, were we able to help them? And it goes, they're free on the spirit box. And, Ellie Beast was there with me when this happened. But when I went home, this presence, came to me for weeks after, saying, you took those boys away from me. I'm going to slit your throat.
Oh, my God, no.
I could hear it in my ears for weeks after that. It was pissed. And I wrote about that in my book, but yeah. And then it finally just backed off. But yeah.
Yeah, Roy said it's desanctified. That's the word.
Yep.
When you left the rectory, was there some spirits that needed your help and you weren't able to help them at all?
Well, that's the thing. You got to be careful because obviously, a child spirit could disguise itself as a demonic thing. But obviously, I have the intent to try to help anybody. And I had, in that vision, those 3 kids came up to me and warned me about this thing. They warned me and gave me the name of the thing before I went there. So, I offered to try. If there were kids there, I said a prayer for them. But then for this thing to say that I took those kids away from it or whoever it was, that to me was evident that I possibly did have my hand in some sort of children's spirits that were there. Why would it be telling me that I did do it?
Oh my God.
And why would it be so pissed off at me?
Wow.
And it got me for weeks.
Oh, that is...
I mean, there's scenarios that go on in the spiritual realm that we can only theorize or speculate what's going on and why they're children's spirits or why there's certain, specific spirits that are lingering in certain areas. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, were there murders? I mean, there's mysterious things that go on in locations that we just don't know about, and then we get little bits and pieces while we investigate it from a paranormal perspective. So, again, I don't know why something would come to me for weeks after telling me I took those 3 boys away from him for weeks after, pissed off, threatening me that he's going to kill me. But all I know is that I had the right genuine intent, willing to help anybody, and if they were kids, then so be it. I did my best to try and help them.
Okay, do you have time to take some questions?
Of course.
Okay.
I got the time in the world.
Okay, Royce, viewers, guys, would you put your questions in caps so Royce can send them to me? I know you had questions all during the show, but I like to do the questions at the end. So type your questions again, please. Yeah, so I really want you to come back and so in your sequel to your first book, you put more cases. Were they the worst of the worst in this second book?
Well, obviously, there's going to be a big chunk of the story about the girl who's possessed and pregnant. It was a very amazing, just crazy, unsettling, tragic, and important, I think, story just to get out there, because I just realized people, when they mess around with this sort of thing, what can happen? And that's why, with these experiences, I think it's important to put it on paper and let people, read it. It might, if it helps one person or a million people, at least you're getting it out there for the potential to help somebody. But I had that. Yeah, I mean, there's just more creepy stuff. There's a big chunk of my book about the Amityville house.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so when the second book comes out, would you pick out some cases that are in that book? And then Amityville will be one of them, and let's do a show on that.
Yeah, because the whole Amityville thing is really creepy. I've had a lot of experiences. Things have been floating around me, and it's still floating around me, because I got involved again with possibly trying to help the boy. One of the DeFeos still at the house, and Ralph is actually involved at some point with me. Things was coming at me in my place, and something just creepy just happened like a few days ago involving it. It's nuts. I'd love to talk about the Amityville. We could do a whole thing on your show just about that, because I'll tell you right now, I started doing research on the Amityville house, and now it's going to be like 25% of my book. Like, it's so deep. And then someone randomly messaged me having to do with the Amityville house, and now they're writing a piece for me because it's something that happened to them that's really unsettling, having to do with someone who bought the negatives of the DeFeo murders from an auction and started having activity at their home, having nightmares at 3:15
Are
in the
you
morning
able to
every
get
night.
Are you able to get a copy of those?
I would love to. He's reluctant to send them to me because he said that this guy didn't want him sending anywhere. But, the scary thing is that, so this guy, he started corresponding with this gentleman, is what he tells me. And this guy had activity in his house, demonic activity, waking up 3:15, having nightmares about the murders. He showed the gentleman that's talking to me the images, and he said he was having the same exact activity going on in his place. He stopped talking with this guy, and he just found out last year that the guy who originally bought the negatives at an auction hung himself.
No way. No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Excuse me. Oh my God. Well, when we get off, I'm gonna. I want you to send me some dates. I really want to do a show on the Amityville. I did do one, but that was several years ago. And
I got a whole thing that happened. It's nuts, man. It's really nuts. Like I said, those are the stories that I really love to write about, or just be fascinated by. Are the ones that really stick to you. And like, I started to go into that, and things were coming around me like nuts. Like, it was around me. I was waking up at 3:15 in the morning, constantly, like, looking at the clock, like, weird shit. And it's still happening on and off. And I just actually had something happen just a few days ago. That's really, really nuts. It's confirming of something, one of my experiences that has to do with the house.
Oh my God! Did you and Ralph Sarchi actually get into the house?
No. We were outside on the street doing a spirit box session, and the responses we got were like really astounding.
They sold that house again.
Yeah, I hear the people that live in there now hate the thought of anything being haunted. I was just watching like Ed and Norene Warren's interviews about the Amityville house, and I never saw this image of Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s picture in his room, and he had a book of witchcraft and a feather and stuff. So, Ed Warren had actually thought that Ronald was doing witchcraft in the red room of the basement, and that's why it was so dark in that one area. But there was a house that allegedly stood on the property before the DeFeo family had that house built on the property, that they were experiencing paranormal paranormal activity, but they moved that house to
Yeah.
another location, and they
Right.
had no paranormal activity. So there was something there that was there from the beginning, and when the DeFeo family moved into the house, they were experiencing paranormal activity. And actually, even Ed had said that no one really knows, but Ronald DeFeo Sr. actually went up to, I believe, Canada and brought an exorcist to the house to do a blessing on the home. And that, there's religious items all around the house, and even Ronald DeFeo Jr. actually spoke to Hans Holzer about as well. They were hearing knocks, footsteps, and screaming noises and stuff. But then you add into the abuse and the drug use and all the stuff that was going on in that home, it just create this perfect storm. So it wasn't just a Lutz family; it was going back way before that.
I thought that house was built on Indian land, Indian territory.
Yeah, so I did a lot of research on it because I'm like writing about it because my experiences. And so allegedly the Historical Society of Amityville said, oh no, there's no Native American burial grounds. But from what I read, Hans Holzer had spoken to the development of the property owners before the house was there, and they said yes, there were Native American burial grounds. So he got confirmation from the development owners from the property. So it seems like that's the case. I mean, you think about the family; they were all face down. No one ran for their lives. No one heard the gunshots. There's something strange. The cops don't even know how that occurred. There's something strange, unexplained, took place that night to create this perfect tragedy that's horrific and fascinating all at once.
Oh my God! Well, we are definitely going to do a show. I will send you a message. Do you want me to send you a message on email or Facebook?
Whatever.
Okay, I want to know. I that is one of my favorite hauntings is the Amityville.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm kind of like I'm like involved with it because I've had crazy experiences. It's really nuts.
Oh my God, I'm really excited about that. Okay, so we have some questions for you.
Sure.
From Shelty Shangri-La. Question: what are you doing to protect yourself from oppression? It kind of seems like you might need to do more, in all sincerity.
Well, I say protection prayers every night. I bless my place constantly. I actually just came back from Zach's museum like last week.
Oh yeah, I
So
wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, and there's some creepy things that kind of like came around me too. They were referencing us having visions about the museum before going, and when I came home, and it actually made me wonder if there was some stuff in the museum kind of lingering for a little bit. No, I mean my faith. I wear a blessed St. Michael pendant. It's right here. You can see St. Michael stepping on a demon. Like things happen, things float around my place. But again, because I'm sensitive, there's all sorts of things that just come around. That's why I constantly bless my place. I'll say the Rosary, Archangel Michael prayer. Like there's protection prayers that are even listed at the back of my first book, Shadow Chaser. But when you go to all these different places, things happen. I mean, you're just going to have activity on and off. Do I have like my places like doors going nuts? No. But are there things flying around as you've been seeing tonight? Yeah, there's things. I mean, I'm constantly going to places that are haunted, and things just go on from time to time. But am I being attacked? Am I scared? Am I being oppressed? No, I've been there, done that. And that's why I tell people like to not mess around with stuff in your home. That's your sanctuary, because you could be, I know you're looking for answers, to have an experience, but you could actually invite something that was never in your house to begin with, and then make your matters worse for you and the people that you care about around you.
We go to Las Vegas 3 or 4 times a year, and I have yet to go to his museum.
It's amazing, Norene. It's you must see. It's a maze with creepy twists and turns, and the energies you feel throughout the place. In the funeral room, I felt a finger just go like this.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
Just got touched. I told her like afterwards. I was getting touched, in another place on my neck. I mean, you can feel it, man. That place is super charged up. It's really crazy. I mean, there's no other place like that in the country when it comes to haunted items, that's for sure. It's huge. It's like 30-something rooms. The tour is like an hour and 40 minutes. It's extensive. It's interesting. And if you're into the macabre and like the paranormal, I mean, you should go see it.
Is the mother still there? She used to run the place. Is she still there? His mother?
I don't think I saw her, but there's a lot of people working there. The tours kind of like do like a relay. They pass you off to like the next part because the place is massive. The place is huge, and he's even adding stuff on there. It's impressive. It's really impressive.
I guess I'll have. Did you check out the Dibbit box when you were there?
Yeah.
What'd you
Yeah.
think?
There's like salt all around it, and I think they had sage around it, and like the leaves were turning sour because they're trying to keep it at bay, to keep it in its glass container without coming out and infect anything. But they show you the video when Post Malone's in there and runs out when he touches it or something like that. Oh, something just flew by my head again.
Uh-oh. But I got to play this back because I got to see all this. I'm going to clip them out.
That one big one.
I got to see it.
It was so prevalent. Jeez.
Oh, God. Aren't you glad you came on the show tonight?
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, it's my favorite subject. I mean, we can talk about this endlessly, so.
All right, we have another question for you from Karen Bao. Do you think shows like this or movies can cause an attack or an attachment?
No. Not from watching movies. I get that a lot, that question. So what can actually happen is because you become open. So if you're open to spirituality and the paranormal in general, you can attract activity to you if you go places. But no, from just watching a movie or something like that, no, not at all.
Okay. Let's see. From Beat 3 Airspace, Sean, why are Chris and Eric so angry, or they seem that way on the show Ghost Loop?
Chris and Eric?
Yeah, are so angry, or they seem that way on the Ghost Show, Ghost Loop.
I don't know, they might be emotionally, connected during a certain scene, or this and that. There's a lot of different things that go on in some of these cases.
Okay.
Obviously, we split up into teams and things like that. Sometimes it's a concern that some of these spirits could be messing with us and trying to divide us and contributing to some of the dark energy because they don't want us to help the family at hand. But these things do happen.
Okay. Another question from I Am Alpha. Sean, do you still use the Ouija board?
No. I used it once. It was 10 years ago. 9 years ago, something like that. I was convinced to play with it once, and I'll never play with it again.
Did you have a bad experience?
That's how I got oppressed.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't blame you. From Tori Oatway. Have you ever encountered angels?
Absolutely. One of my favorite experiences that I had was actually laying in this bed in my room. I was laying in my bed, and I just felt this complete, utter white light around my body, and it felt like complete, utter, just peace and love. Like I was laying on the beach in the sun, that tranquil feeling magnified by a million, and I just heard this echoing voice, and it gave me this message preparing me about dark entities. I have it written somewhere, but I remember the last sentence that it said, this angel said to me that still lives to me to this day, and I think it's, profoundly important and symbolic in so many different ways for us as human beings. And it said, believe in yourself to be greater than you think you are. It's really what we're supposed to do in our lives. I mean, we need the protection from God. We need guidance from God and the guidance from our, guardian angels and things like that. But we also have to believe in ourselves. We also have to believe in ourselves that we are greater than we think we are, so we can accomplish things. Because if we tell ourselves that we can't do things because of fear, because of negative emotions, we're never going to have that chance. We can't put fear into anything. If you feel something in your heart and soul that you want to accomplish, you want to, it's a goal or a hope or something, you got to push and fight for it, because there is huge opportunities. You either want the universe to work for you or against you. In our everyday life, we got to have that positive attitude and never give up. I mean, I pursued music for so long, and I got screwed left and right. And it's cliche to say the music business is screwed up. And then the paranormal hit me out of nowhere, and I just started researching. Never thought I'd be on TV for it. But I was going through a lot of personal things, and family, and things like that. We all have our share of shit that we gotta endure, but, you know, I'm appreciative to be, you know, involved on TV, or, you know, doing what I love to do, and to, you know, make a difference with it. So, I mean, it's perseverance, never giving up. When you think that you're supposed to give up, that's when you got to push hardest. Don't listen to yourself, you know, when it comes to any sort of emotion that's going to negatively draw you back, and take away some of your potential within yourself.
Okay. Okay, another question. From Mama Joe Buffalo Woman. Mama Joe Buffalo Woman. Any idea why a St. Mary pendant falls from a necklace?
Wait, what was that? Something pendant?
Okay,
What?
any idea why a St. Mary pendant falls from a necklace?
I mean, hey, I wasn't there when it happened. Is there a rational reason why that could happen? Sure. I don't know what the necklace is. I don't know how strongly it was binded to the necklace, if it was paranormally related. I don't think that would be the only thing that you'd be experiencing. So you got to be careful about assuming things that are paranormal. And obviously, you know, you don't want to be frightened, like, wow, why did that fall off? But again, if there was something negative that was able to pull off a religious item off your neck, that would not be the only thing that you'd be experiencing. You'd be experiencing negative activity that would be building little bits and pieces, little signs, and synchronized dark events that you'd feel a negative characteristic, you know, associated with each event, that would be building and building until you would know. But again, I'm not there, so I can't really tell you, oh, why did that happen.
Okay.
If that helps.
Okay. Hold on. Let me put you full. Okay. From Kathy Salento. Sean, with the work that you do, have you noticed any similarities in how the demons manipulate the one that is possessed, or what it does to its surroundings?
Well, ultimately, they want us to harm ourselves and harm others. They want to make an example out of the creation of man that God created, to say that God shouldn't have created man. They want us to fail and make an example out of it. So whatever they can come up with chaotically, maliciously, malevolently, that's what they're going to do. Whether, you know, they break up a family, making everybody fight each other, or a team on a show, or a paranormal team anywhere, or friends, whatever they can create, any negative emotion that a human being can have, sadness, depression, aggression, anger, any of those sorts of things, feed these things, gives them more energy to create these scenarios to make us suffer, because that's what they want us to do, is suffer. So you're talking about a spiritual species that is the enemy of man. They're strategically at war with our kind, so that we can only speculate what they're doing in the shadows and trying to manipulate with us. That's why it's really important to be informed if you ever want to be involved in the work, to have a deeper understanding how they can attack you, not just from a physical standpoint and outwardly manifest, but also from a psychological, emotional, and spiritual level. That's the most delicate part of how these things can attack you. They can amplify emotions and telepathically project to you, to actually make you think that they are your emotions, your thoughts. And that's why you have to be objective about your emotions. If they don't make sense, that's where you can lead into infestation and oppression, and ultimately possession, if you end up giving up subconsciously to something to let it in.
Okay. Mama Joe Buffalo, honey. Okay, so you have a team coming to your home. Do you want to tell us why you have a team coming to your home? Is there a question that you have for Sean? So I'll let you add to that question. Okay. All right. So let's go on. Okay. From okay, from Tori Otway. Aside from prayer, what items do you bring when you investigate demonic hauntings?
I have a religious relic, actually, that Ralph gave me. I have a blessed St. Michael pennant. It's actually been touched by the relic of the true cross that Jesus was crucified on, that Ralph has a copy of. Anything it touches considered a third-class relic as well. I would bring holy water. We would bring the frankincense, blessed, blessed frankincense and myrrh, blessed salt, holy water, the exorcism prayer, obviously saying protection prayers before going, after. You always got to be on guard because you never know what's going to happen. Something or someone can lash out if they're being influenced. But it's also dependent on the type of case you're walking into. You obviously know kind of an idea of what could be happening before you go into the case, if they're legit, and what kind of things they may have got themselves involved in. So there's a lot of factors that come into play.
Okay. From Debbie Knapp. Debbie is lead investigator. She owns the Northern Arizona Paranormal. Hey, Deb. Question for you, Sean. Have you ever felt drawn to a certain case that pretty much haunts you to go back?
Just like a location type of deal?
Have you... Okay, wait a minute. I lost it. Have you... I guess a location, yeah. Have you been to a location that you're drawn to, that you have to go back?
Well, when I first started investigating Letchworth Village, which is close to nearby me, it was the first abandoned, haunted asylum. I was inside a building. It wasn't just a cemetery that I was wandering around. I was very drawn to go back there many times, and I had so many experiences. I wrote a whole chapter about it in my book, because the place is super haunted, and so many things would happen. That place definitely drew me there many, many times. Obviously, the Amityville thing. I would love to just be able to walk through that house. It's probably my number one haunted house, just to be able to walk through the property and just literally just see everything. Because not only is it one of the most fascinating haunted stories, but now I have I've experienced things with it, and I want to know why, and I want to be able to figure it out. What's my connection to? Why am I a part of this now? I don't know. But there are other places that have been drawn to go back to, these woods that I'm writing about in my second book. Very mysterious, dark woods in Jersey. I wrote a chapter about it in my book. They found a decapitated head in the woods. They found evidence of Sampiere, animals ritualistically killed.
Oh, is that the Pine Barrens?
No.
Oh.
It's this small reservation in Jersey, and just crazy stuff happened there. We went with these girls. They told me about it because there was allegedly satanic murders that took place there in the 50s. And I was live streaming, by the way. And this girl got scratched. She started looking off into nothing. Live streaming. This is on live stream. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And it came through the spirit box and said, "We are Legion." Started smelling urine out of nowhere. The girls heard a pig snarl in their ear.
Oh my
and
God.
the pig snarl came through the spirit box. And then all of a sudden this voice comes through the spirit box and goes, "They're going to get sick." And I've never witnessed it before. Both these girls, live on Periscope, they start throwing up. Nonstop.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm literally guiding them out of the woods as they're continuously throwing up, until I got to my car to put holy water on their forehead. And one of the girls started having a recurring dream of this pig thing that she would see all of us pulled into the woods in the darkness, and this cute little pig would run up to her, and then all of a sudden it would start just gnawing at her and attacking her. And she'd have it over and over again. And, my buddy Eric and I have been there so many times. We've had so many experiences, and there's just this, it seems like the cops, they've hushed a lot of the things that have happened in that place. So I've been there so many times, and it's one of those things that reference and come around. I see it in my mind's eye, this pig thing, and it has yellow eyes, and it watches me. Actually, I have a picture, because I knew the pig thing was following us around. I'll show you it from my Instagram. This thing would follow, and I'm like, I told this couple that I was with in Letchworth at a cemetery. It's the Letchworth Cemetery, a mile down. I believe that there's a portal there, and I'm like, I feel like the pig is here, and then all of a sudden it said pig, and then I'm like, I just saw these glowing eyes watching us in the middle of the woods, and this girl saw it too, and she started snapping some pictures, and she caught it, and you can see right here.
Oh my God, the eyes! Oh my God!
Yeah, it's like this thing was watching us, and it's followed me to different places.
Wow!
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I've seen it at the Shanley Hotel. There's a portal there. I saw it with my own eyes. Eric saw it. This thing has followed in certain places, but it's creepy as hell.
Wow! Oh my God! Look at that. Yeah, that's crazy.
So, I mean, yeah, it's one of those places that I've been back to many times. And this thing, it's those things when they reference you, and you constantly, when you go to different places, it's just strange, but it makes you want to be drawn to go back there to find out answers, especially when there's, like, historically, there's little bits and pieces you hear about and other people's experiences in there being haunted, and there might have been mob hits, satanic murders, decapitated hits, Santeria, but it seems like it's been hushed, and you want to go back there to find out more answers. And Eric and I have been there back many times, and it's just, this thing's just not happy that we go there, and I've prayed for spirits there, and it's not happy about that either. It scratched Eric too. I mean, it followed him. Yeah, but
wow.
Yeah, that's another place that's a new place that I'm just thinking about that I've gone back to many times, because it's just this mysterious, very haunted area, and it's like, why? How did this start? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you putting that in your second book?
Yes.
Oh, good. Boy, you got some great cases. All right, our last question. Oh, wait a minute. Teresa Browning. Well, she wants to know what happened to Ralph's show on the Travel Channel. Well, we all know it was canceled.
Yeah, it was just the 3 episodes, and they just, I guess, decided not to continue it at the time. I mean, that was pretty much it.
Now,
wasn't
that, I remember, now, the reason I remember is because I couldn't believe that they showed it on the show, and that they didn't, put something else in its place. You guys went to this one family, and the guy was heavy set, dark hair with glasses, I believe, and the bottom line is they weren't telling you the truth. They just wanted to be on camera.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they showed that.
I know. That's something that I've never seen on TV before. I mean, but that's something that paranormal investigators, deal with. I mean, you go to these places these days, and people know that they can get attention from, hauntings and things like that. And to be honest with you, psychically, I told Ralph, I'm like, I got a feeling that these people just want to be on TV. And he's like, pipe down, Sean. We went in there, and that's what it was, man. And it was not a pretty scene, but I think it was really good to show what does happen. That, you can't help anybody if they don't have the intent to get rid of what's in their home, if they're not willing to do whatever it takes, and if they're making up lies just for the sake of being on TV. It won't matter if we turn their house into a fucking church. Nothing's going to happen. They're going to increase their activity, and then all of us can get attacked too. Because if there's evil spirits in there, they know that we're not going to be able to help them, and they're going to come at us, mock us, and attack us because they already know that.
Okay. Yeah, that was very interesting to see that. And really, it was good to see. That was good to see. Because I imagine that some of these other shows had the same issue, but they just don't show it.
Right.
All right, so we have...
Well, they just go make it appear as if, they're helping them.
All right, so the last question from Mama Joe Buffalo Woman. All right, so she's having a paranormal team come out to her house because she found rosary beads that were broken up and thrown on the floor. And she said rotten meat smells, a girl humming, pigs thrown from my wall. They landed 8 feet from the side wall instead of down. Illnesses. It hides from me, but it taunts me. Been never since May. Had it off and on for years. And she says, do you have any idea why or what is happening? And I holy water bless and smudge. Much happening here, just trying to get rid of it.
Well, obviously the first thing I would say is how old's the house? What's the history of the house? Because to see if that's any sort of connected to why there's activity there. If there's something truly demonic there, it has to be invited in somehow, whether from the property or someone else that is invited in themselves individually. So I would ask, what's the history of the house? And if you have any children or any of you that have messed around with Ouija boards or any sort of things like that could have invited some of this stuff or added to what was already there to personify it and exemplify it to the point where it's outwardly manifesting to an extreme.
Okay. There's one more last question from Tori Otway. Have you ever heard of June Lundgren? If so, what are your thoughts on her psychic gifts?
No, I may have heard the name before, but no, I've never seen her or seen anything about her gifts. I mean, I know you see a lot of people on TV and stuff like that who have abilities, but it's all about firsthand experience. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can perceive a certain way, you have the right to your own opinion, but just like paranormal experiences in general, I always tell people, like, oh, well, this is fake, and you're on TV and doing this, and I'm like, dude, like, you could be a defense lawyer for rationalities and find loopholes in every single story or piece of evidence that I present to you. But if you were there and you witnessed something with me, and you have no rational explanation of what just occurred, that's why we call it the unexplained, and you'll be scratching your head for the rest of your life. And that's what we look for in person, because these days people fake stuff, and you know, to get attention and whatever, and people with their abilities. But I mean, you can tell. I mean, you can get a little intuitive ability about whether people are legit and stuff. I mean, there's people with real gifts out there, and I don't know who this woman is, but you know, she may have gifts too. But you know, make a judgment and you know, for yourself, and you know, see if you really truly believe that. If something, I don't know if she does readings for people, or is she on a show, or
I never heard of her.
I haven't really either. I feel like I've heard the name possibly.
Oh, Sean, thank you so much for being on the show, and I'm telling you, I'm so excited to have you come back. I can't wait for you to talk about the Amityville. It's going to be so exciting. The viewers are going to love it. And everybody, don't forget, all the links to Sean are at the bottom of the video. His website, where you can get his music, books, everything is there. Okay? And Sean, thanks so much. Oh my God, good luck with your new book coming out. Your music, that's just awesome. I love your music. I wish you much success, honey.
Thanks so much. And the next 6 Fridays, including tomorrow night, 10 p.m., 9 Central on Travel Channel, the last 6 episodes of our show, Ghost Loop. Check it out. Add me. Tweet me if you have a question about the show. I do live Q&As all the time on Periscope. If you have a question, you want to email me. The lady who's experiencing stuff in your house, you can private message me. I'd be glad to try to guide you and help you with what you're experiencing. And yeah, appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sean. Happy New Year. Have an amazing year. Thanks, honey. I'll message you, okay? Thanks.
Done.
Night. Good night.
Yep.
Oh my God. That is so exciting to have Sean on the show. I just love Sean. And my teeth are black. Oh, I thought my teeth were black again from the green screen. Okay, I guess not. Thanks everyone for joining us. Happy New Year to you. I hope you all have an amazing year. Great show to start the year off. And I'm already scheduling shows for this year. Waiting for Royce to do a show with Royce. I'm waiting, Royce. You got to come on, and we got to do another one of those ghost show pictures. Ghost pictures. I'm so excited about doing that with you. So hurry up, let's get going and do that, okay? Yes, great show for the first of the year, okay? Please don't forget to give the show a like. I got 2 dislikes. I don't know why. Sean's amazing. Maybe they don't like me. I don't know. I don't care. I love you all, you guys who watch and support me. I did not send out a reminder. I'm sorry. I forgot all about it. But you know what? All you have to do is when I just check the front page of my channel, and you can hit the reminder. You can set your own reminder set up. You just, when I'm going to set up, I have another show coming up. I'm doing two a month, every other week. The next show is with Bishop or Father Ron Feo. He's an exorcist, and he deals with demonic cases. And I did several shows with him. And he's coming back. He messaged me and he wants to come back on the show. And he is starting up a worldwide network for helping people that have demonic problems. And we're going to talk about that on the show. and talk about demonic cases as well. Also, if you ever have any questions or any suggestions for a show, send me an email at ParanormalZoneTV@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your suggestions. Also, I'm on Facebook. And yeah, I'd like to hear from you on any suggestions and guests. All right, so with that, I guess there's nothing else. I just want to thank you so much for your loyalty. I really appreciate it. So everybody, I'm going to say goodnight. Thanks to our mods, Royce, Hinman, Cassandra, and Crystal for being here tonight with them. We wouldn't have the great chat room that we have. Pray for Royce. He needs your prayers and your positive energy. Also, Cassandra. Cassandra and Crystal, pray for them too and send your positive energy to them. Royce, we got to keep you healthy, honey. We got to keep you healthy. All right, so I'm going to, Ralph's show was canceled after 3 episodes. Usually they'll cancel a show because of low ratings. And I think they had offered him a show at one time, a second show, but it didn't pan out. So, and he's retired now from the, Crystal too, yes. Didn't I say Crystal? Chipper? I thought I said Crystal. There you are, Crystal. Yes, honey, we love you. We love Cassandra. We love Royce. I love my mods. I love them. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go. The only reason I'm on this late tonight is because Jim's running late. He's on the USS Hornet. They had an event tonight, so he'll be home soon. So, okay, so I love you guys. I'm going to go now. You have a great, I hope this year is amazing for you. And this year starts, what year? 208. How many years is that? 12 years? 208? How many years is that, Royce? I'm really bad at math. 208, I started my Paranormal Zone TV. Let's see, 2020, let's see, 208. No way, 12 years? Oh my God, this is my 12th year. 12 years of live broadcasting. The only problem is I've lost a lot of my shows because I streamed on other channels. We didn't have live YouTube. YouTube was not live, and they didn't offer any programs like this. So I don't think I started on here until, I can't remember, 2013 maybe? I was able to get some old shows on here because I had recorded them from another network. But I used to be on live stream. I used to be on People's TV Network. I was on another network, several other networks, and I lost all my shows. So that's why I don't have that many shows for all the years that I've been live. So, yep, 12 years now. Yeah, Justin TV, that was another one. I mean, I was really bad with tech. I didn't know how to download my stuff. I didn't know how to do any of that. And then another thing, when I was doing paranormal investigations, I lost a lot of those shows because the techie we had that was taking care of the equipment, he was supposed to be downloading my shows on a DVR, and then when I tried to get those from him, he said he didn't have them. So I lost all those live paranormal investigating shows, and we went to some really awesome locations. We used to investigate only historic locations. We did one live show at a residence. Oh my God, it was scary as hell. There was something that, oh my God, it was really, really bad. And I used to be a real estate agent, and this house I had the listing on this house, and what I did, I wasn't supposed to do that. I was not supposed to do a paranormal investigation at that house, and I got it because I solicited the people, and it was vacant, and I used to go in there, and well, anyway, the bottom line is I think they died in the house, and the father used to go in the garage and he used to smoke, and and the daughter used to tell him, you know, you're not allowed in the house, you can only smoke in the garage. And so when I got the listing, I used to smell cigarette smoke. And then one Sunday when I was having an open house, I was scared of that house. I was actually scared. When I did an open house, I sat outside on the front porch. I wouldn't go in the house. I was scared to death. And I wouldn't go upstairs. I cleaned it all up for staging and everything, and I got the hell out of there. And so one Sunday, I was opening up the house and to go in there, and actually this happened twice, and I opened up the door, and oh my God, the cigarette smoke just hit me right in the face. And I said to him, I said, look, I told you, you cannot smoke in the house. No smoking. You can smoke in the garage, but you cannot smoke in the house. I'm trying to sell the house, and they don't want to smell that cigarette smoke. And he never did it again. But there was another time that I did have an open house, and I was sitting outside. I wouldn't go in. And when the people had looked at the house and came out, and they said, wow, there's somebody in here that's a real heavy smoker. And then the next time I told them, you can't smoke in this house. And so we had gone there. I got permission from the family, because they wanted to know. They figured the house was haunted as well, and they wanted to know who was haunting the house. So we were doing our investigation. It was Donna Raymond, myself, I think Jesse, I forget Jesse. Jesse Garcia was with us. He goes by Jesse Calderon now. You guys, some of you remember Jesse. And so we were doing the investigation, and one of them saw a creepy entity on all fours crawling up the staircase. I didn't see it, but they did, and they were scared to death, but we never captured it. Well, we continued with the investigation, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I did finally sell the house. And I'm glad. And in fact, after I sold the house, and I wasn't allowed to tell those people that the house was haunted. And so what I did was, I've had several attachments. In fact, anyway, so after I sold the house, I wasn't allowed to tell those people that the house was haunted. And in fact, and after that, like maybe 6 months or so later, they put the house up on the market, but they couldn't sell it. And I see, when I drive down the road, I can look down that street, and that house is like the third house from the corner, and I can see, you know, if they put the house up for sale or not, but they never sold it, so I guess they're still there. And we did one other residence, and after that I stayed away from residences. I didn't want to get involved with that, so we used to just do historic locations, and those were really fun to do, and some of those were pretty creepy. Can't remember. Yeah, some of those were pretty creepy, but I had fun. Anyway, those days are over with. I've had 3 attachments, and I have, they were, let's see, one was not recorded. The second one was recorded, but somebody else has that on their camera, and they won't give it to me. And then one of them I do have. I got it on my camera, so I actually have a recording of me with Brother Carlos. Now he's on Facebook, and he's the one that has cleared me of the attachments 3 times. And this one time I do have it. I'll dig it up and maybe I'll show it to you guys. It actually jumped out of my body, and I could feel it. It was well, I have that, so I'll show you guys sometime. And it's pretty interesting. But he's Brother Carlos. He's the only one that I trust, and he did get those attachments out of me, and I will never do paranormal investigating again. Never. It's not worth it to me, because you have no idea. I don't know if any of you have ever had an attachment, but you have no idea what it's like. It changes your personality. It's horrible. And every time I would get one, my personality would change, and I wasn't very nice. I would argue with everybody. It's a terrible, terrible thing. That's why anybody who deals with these paranormal investigations, if you don't know what the hell you're doing, it's not fun. It's not a game. Stay away from it. Please stay away from it. And then this other time, I have pictures of this. I have a story about when I did you guys, we'll talk about this some other time. I don't want to keep you up. Jeez, it's already 2.5 hours. I never went to the Wells house, and I was asked to go. Constantly, I was asked, please, come to the Wells house, come to the Wells house. And I said, no, I don't want to go. And I almost went. I said, hey, Jim, do you want to fly back east and go to the Wells house? And Jim was going to go with me. He was willing to go, but you know what? Something just told me, don't do it. Just don't go. And I'm really glad I did, because any female that went to that house, they got bad luck and bad things happened to them. So I'm glad I stayed away. I have a lot of stories. Maybe one day, maybe I'll get Royce on Skype with me, and I'll tell you about some of the experiences I've had. I have a lot, and how this all started. This all started years ago when I was 16 years old. My father had died, and we were in the house, and that was my first paranormal experience. And we were babysitting for my niece. She was at the house with us, and my sister and I were sitting in the living room, and I forget what we were talking about. And then all of a sudden, there was a patio door, a big glass screen, a double glass patio. Excuse me. And hold on for a second. Hold on. I'm sorry. And the curtains were drawn, had, those pull curtains that went all the way across. And my sister and I were talking, and then all of a sudden, I swear to God, the curtains, the whole panel blew up in the air and then went back down. And I called up my sister, my older sister, who we were babysitting her baby, and I said, oh my God, we're scared. The curtains just, of course they didn't believe us. And we said, oh my God, we're scared. The curtains just blew up in the air for no reason at all. There was no wind. We didn't have the door open, but the curtains blew up in the air. Of course, they didn't believe us. Yeah. And then another thing that just happened to me the other day, I was in the kitchen, and I was making my husband breakfast, and we have a big 10-foot window that looks out into the side part of the backyard, and I have this wooden. We have a wooden deck that wraps around the house, and over in the front part of the main part of the double doors, I leave wet cat food for all the cats that want to eat, homeless or whatever. They can come and eat. And so I was looking on the side part of the house, And I looked out through the window and I saw a cat. But the cat wasn't solid. It was a silhouette of a cat. And it was like pixelating. I could see the pixelated outline of him, but I could see the trees through it. And I looked and I thought, oh my God. So I ran over to the window to see if what was going on there. What was that all about? Well, the cat wasn't there anymore. So that I went around to the front part where I leave the cat food, and there was no cat eating wet cat food. And that's the first time I ever saw a transparent cat. I have seen my own dead cats, but they were solid. And I'll just catch like a second of them, but I see them. But this is the first time I've seen a transparent cat. Now I'm going to tell you one more story that this just happened yesterday. And I don't tell anybody because nobody believes me. And God, there was something else I told my house. Oh, well. Anyway, so yesterday, so I have, okay, this. See this? This is an eyebrow pencil. And this, I've been missing for, I can't tell you. I don't even know what happened to it. So I've just have it in my case just like this because I couldn't find this part. So this was in the other room where I keep all my makeup, where I do my hair and everything. And so yesterday I got a package because I order from Amazon Prime. And I was ordering these tablets because one of the little kitties that I feed out in the backyard has worms. I saw it on his tail. And so I ordered these pills for the kitty. And so it came, and I opened up the box, and I opened up it was a bubble wrap, paper on the outside and bubble wrap, and I cut it open, I opened up, and I emptied out the package, and you're not going to believe it. I swear to God, this, the top, was inside the package. And I know people are going to think I'm stark raving mad, but this was in the package. It fell out. I swear to God, it fell out. So I don't know how that happened, but now I've got the top to my eyeliner. Crazy as heck, I'm telling you. So anyway, I'm done with my stories. I have a ton of stories I could tell you, but I'll get Royce on the show with me and we'll talk, okay? So everybody, I'm going to say goodnight to you, and I'll see you. Look at my teeth are black. Damn. That's the green screen. All right, I know my coughing's annoying. I'm sorry. So I'll see you. Let's see. What's the date? Okay, I'll see you on the 23rd with Ron Feo. Okay, guys? I love you guys, and have a great evening. Okay? Love you guys. I'll see you on the 23rd, okay? Thank you so much. Love you guys. Good night. Thank you. Hold on. Good night.